Okay, it was nice to read your comments on Facebook. I think the video, once again, is thought-provoking, and it's good that we take the chance to think about roles, stereotypes, and to question some of those ideas. I hope you really liked it and could make the most of it. Now we're going to get hands-on the final task. As you know, as part of this course, you will be asked to present, to hand in a final task. The final task is a sequence of activities which reflects the importance we have been discussing visual narratives have for the process of learning, and particularly for the process of teaching a foreign language. And it should also reflect your ideas in terms of how to make the most of the classroom, of the resources that you find at your disposal. So I'm going to give you the instruction right now, and then you're going to be working fully into that final task, and I'll be connecting eventually just to monitor your task, just to answer your questions and to provide help if necessary. As you know, I have shared with you different resources through Facebook, and now I'm going to ask you to browse at those resources and to choose the materials you would like to plan your sequence of tasks on. So here's the task. Choose the materials, whether it is a short story, an image, a short video. Once you have the resources, I want you to plan a sequence of tasks to exploit the resource, to exploit visual narratives and narratives in general. I want you to think of the context in general terms, the context for that task. Remember, we discussed about content, and when we talked about content then, and I insist on that, we need to think of the context, we need to think of the language practices, we need to think of the tasks, right? So I'm going to ask you to put all that together. What can the topic be? Think of the sequence as belonging to a project. So what can that project be? And as you think of the sequence, what is the role you're going to assign to the 4 language practices? Listening, speaking, reading, writing. Think about a number of activities. I suggest that you think about 4 or 5 minimum in the way you would exploit that resource you have picked in particular. How can you think of the role the intercultural discussion has in the tasks you have selected? What is the role that you assign to the reading of the visual, to going beyond the image? I mentioned in the previous part of this class some of the activities you can choose in order to make the most of the resources. So get together, probably in pairs or in small groups, and think of a nice sequence of activities that you would probably consider within a broader project. Is the project related to sex education? That is an alternative. Is it related to values in general? That would be wonderful. To the intercultural learner? Well, keep thinking. Take the time to discuss this with your classmate, with your colleague, and then think about the sequence of tasks you would put into practice. Once you have it ready, I want you to take a moment to write down why you thought of those tasks, what the goal is in putting those tasks into practice. Reflect upon all the things we have been discussing and sharing since the beginning of this course. Once you have it all ready, I'm going to ask you to create a PowerPoint presentation. It doesn't have to be very long, but it has to be aimed at your colleagues. For the 4th and last meeting, we are going to be sharing what each group from each district has created. So I want you to make the most of a simple but concise, powerful presentation to let your colleagues know the resources you have chosen, the reason why you chose those resources, the tasks you have developed for your classroom, and why you picked those tasks in particular, and how all this would make sense in a broader project that I wish you implement very soon in your classes, right? So, time for you to think hard, get together, work collaboratively, and again, I'm going to be making contact online, and I'm going to be answering your questions, and I'm going to be helping if there is the need for me to do so. So I hope you really make the most of this opportunity, and hands on.